This is the MK2 MR2 Turbo, and it's great. Now, I think the Japanese are the best in the business for these rear-wheel drive sports cars, and this is the first mid-engine sports car they ever did, and I think they did a cracking job. The car feels great around these windy little roads. Of course, that's where it's designed to be. The handling is great, the brakes are great because it's obviously got all disc brakes around the car, which is actually very ahead of its time. And that noise it makes. The noise that's coming from this car is the MR2's 2-litre turbocharged engine, which is situated in the middle of the car, obviously. And this produces around 230 horsepower, and it does 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. It's very good. So let's talk a bit more about the car in terms of the looks. It's got a very retro and sleek styling, and of course the Japanese have taken a lot of inspiration from the European car manufacturers. I think it looks a lot like a Ferrari. And by far my favourite part about this car is of course the pop-up headlights. I mean, you can't really go wrong with these. They're just fantastic. They make the car more characterful and they're great. Now let's move through to the interior. Now, it's about as well practical as you can get for a mid-engine sports car. It's relatively spacious in here, and it's got quite a bit of headroom as well, for me at least. If you do want to get the T-top version, there is an option where you can take out the roof here if you are a basketball player. And if you look behind me, we can see that there's no seats. Oh, anyway, let's move on to the centre console now. It's got air conditioning, heating obviously, and the owner's added a touchscreen display here for like Bluetooth and that sort of thing. The interior is like mostly cloth. It's got some cloth here, it's got some cloth in the seats, and it's got like standard features like electric mirrors, electric windows, that sort of thing. There's no cup holders though, which is a bit bad. And if you do want to store your things, there's some storage stuff behind here, which means you'll lose it, and there's a storage thing here as well. So not bad overall. Now, because this is mid-engined, you might think that the boot is pretty much non-existent, but is that really true? To find out, I devise a small test involving another Japanese sports car. I wonder what that could be. So here we have the two cars. We got, well, you already know what that is, and we've got the MR2 here. Now, the MR2 does have quite a good boot, but let's really test this by getting in it. So, first impressions, it's quite depthy. You know, there's actually quite a bit of room in here. There isn't that much width though, which is well expected really. So I think that's a solid pass. Now let's try the MX-5. Now I must confess the spare tyre has been taken out of the boot purely because the MR2 would win, and that's not acceptable. But anyway, as you can see, it's doing all right. It's not as depthy. There is a bit more uncomfortability in here, but overall, it's actually pretty good. The MX-5's got a wider boot, but it's not as much depth there. And I think the boot overall on the MR2 is pretty good, and that is because it is 9 inches longer than the Mark 1. Who wouldn't love another 9 inches? Now, one advantage the MR2 has over the MX-5 is that it actually has some storage space in the front here. This has been taken up by a spare wheel, but if you did take that out, if you were ballsy enough to take it out, you could fit some other things in there, which is pretty good. Now, we do review a lot of JDM cars here on the channel, mainly because I am obsessed with them and because they have a great modding scene. You often see MR2s with over 300 horsepower. The gear change is very slick and positive. The pedals are ideally placed for performance driving, which is great. It's not the most comfortable car to drive, it's quite stiff, but it's bloody good fun. Now, why do I think this MR2 is the best MR2? Well, it's the best looking, it's the fastest, it's easy to mod, and they're relatively cheap. As a JDM performance bargain, nothing really gets close to the Toyota MR2 Turbo. If you want Porsche performance at Peugeot prices, the MR2 supplies a solution. But these are increasing in price, and if you want one, you better get your hands on one very soon. So there we are, that is the Mark II MR2 Turbo, a classic JDM icon. Now, if you did enjoy this video, then make sure you subscribe to us if you want to see more car reviews, specials and podcasts, and we'll see you next time.